Ludwig Smash Invitational. Pulled out a 29th after finishing 8th in the last chance qualifier.
Which is
really made some big upsets.
That was a very hard tournament, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, against Polish, I think was one of the names that we mentioned before. That's a tough matchup for Dr. Mario.
Absolutely. And then Rishi, top 8 at Super Smash Con. Not a lot of other events in general.
Yeah, but Rishi is one of those players that mixes together a couple of my favorite styles, right? And so Rishi has very deliberate plans. And the play style of Rishi, I think, is one where he tries to get a feel for what the opponent likes to do and then punish it hard. However, there's also sort of a student of the game sort of style to Rishi, where Rishi will have very particular options prepared to beat those options that he reads from his opponents. And a first stock for Rishi already.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was very prepared for that dock recovery, right? He wasn't scared. I think that's something that happens when you're playing these mid-tier characters. Sometimes you're kind of giving them a little bit too much respect. It can be a little bit harder to edgeguard. Rishi, I think, plays Junebug a lot. You know, I saw them playing a lot earlier today, back here behind the curtain. A figurative peek behind the curtain and a literal peek behind the curtain, as Rishi and Junebug were playing a lot. So definitely at least has some familiarity there.
Decent
from Junebug at least, yeah.
Yeah, and Junebug, of course, has developed a fairly good Dr. Mario on top of a bunch of other characters over time.
A few good runs recently.
Yeah,
taking some names.
That Rising Fair in particular, or Late Fair like that one, it's really just Fair is the move versus Doc. It is so hard for Doc to get around it. If you do it late, you can punish, you can almost like whiff, confirm, punish against Doc, right?
Yeah.
And if you do it early Rising, you can do the same sort of thing on the ground. So it just really is the move in the matchup. And then you can even see Rishi uses the Fair as a threat too. Like in that case, rises with the Fair and then lets himself fast fall land down tilt when he sees Franz try to come in underneath.
He's also fairing the pills, which is something that in general, the pill can be, a bit of a headache to try and deal with. So it's nice to see that, Rishi has a plan, just says, nope, if you throw a pill, I don't want to take that medicine.
Yeah, and Marth in general has a lot of good moves to swipe the pill with. If you're on the ground, even jab is a very good one.
Franz tried to get out for that kill and unfortunately gets reversed. Knocked to the ceiling of Battlefield there.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart to take a risk at that point, right, when he's already well over 100%. So if you could change the stocks, I think that's a risk you're willing to take.
Yeah, a stock exchange anyway.
Yeah, but there's the up there. Trying to set up for these sorts of juggles, and you can see a little bit of percent tagged on. And really, as Marth, the checkpoints you should be looking for is sort of this triangle. There's a point like where you can let them go on the edge of the stage, you can let them go on the platforms, but you don't want to let them inside of that triangle.
Yeah, it was interesting to see Rishi there just holding center stage and just kind of following Franz as Franz moved on the platforms. Like you said, just not letting Franz get into that center stage triangle and saying, no, this is my area, and I'm more than happy to wall you out with aerials too. So
in the conversation that is Melee, this conversation, if it's going well for Marth, is Doc saying, hey, can I come in now? And then Marth just keeps saying, no.
I don't think the date went that well.
No.
You can't come in.
there will not be in fact, don't drive me home.
There will not be a second date, but there will be a second game here. I'm not sure where actually Franz is going to be looking to go. I think this will be interesting to see. We actually go to FD. So I think that helps with what we were just talking about of like... Marth's kind of so good at just keeping you on those platforms above you because it's so scary to be above Marth, and so you're trying to find that moment to come in. A little bit more kind of horizontal movement here might help Franz try and actually get in.
Yeah, in a lot of matchups, FD is the stage you want to go to juggle, but you kind of called it right. At the beginning of this one, Franz has been able to DI away, and Rishi couldn't quite follow up, so it's going to require quite a commitment from Rishi to go chase Doc down in the air.
And you see also, I think Franz is moving a lot more horizontally this game, right?
Yep.
He's using wave dash in on moves, and he's kind of faking out with those wave dashes to try and say, okay, I can mix up your timings horizontally. It's a lot harder vertically because I just am so much slower in the air. Franz really went out, and that could be super scary. Able to come back, though.
And I kind of like the way Franz is playing this match in particular. Starting to think about the range that Marth wants to be at. It's really only one range, which is about a sword's distance away, right? from very far away, the pills force Marth to come in, and Franz is using those pills to sort of get Rishi into the other spot which he doesn't want to be, which is right next to Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
Doc hits so hard that the risk reward is in his favor when he gets close.
And he's really trying to kind of balance that distance of far enough away to be out of the sword, but still close enough that he can wave dash in and throw out a smash attack, throw out a tilt, get something off of that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, Franz wants to be either, the long story short, really far away or immediately on top of Marth.
On top.
Yeah, and not in between.
That's what it's like with doctors, you know? You either want to be in the operating room with them, or you don't want to see them at all.
Wow. Is that how it is with doctors? I guess
mean,
so.
You don't really want to just like be in the waiting room. You know what I mean? Like that's close to the doc, but you're not at the doc, you know? He's not on top of you.
Yeah, I assume that Rishi's brother Lot is watching, so if that's false information or true, you can let us know.
Yeah, please let us know, Lot. Where do you want to be as a doctor? Never seeing your patients or visiting them?
Yeah, now Rishi with that very specific counterplay, right? We were talking about it before. That was a crouch cancel that led into a grab and a little bit of percent. And even though the first stock looks so good for Franz, note that Rishi's still on top.
Yeah, Franz still having trouble like finding ways to get in, right? I mean, he's trying to get in with the pill, and it just seems like Rishi's really prepared with the fair and all the pills. One of the times that the pill came out, got faired, it actually just led into a combo. The fair just ended up hitting Franz as he came in.
And, you know, at the lower percents, you noted early on that it was seemingly more difficult for Rishi to start the juggles. But at these higher percents, when Doc gets launched really high, Rishi has plenty of time to head underneath and shark very effectively.
Yeah.
And that's why that stock, like, vanished so quickly. It went from 50 to 100 real quick.
Be a big pickup here for Franz.
Yeah.
Able to get it.
I think that a big adaptation from Rishi so far is Rishi's been able to recognize the spots where Franz wants to move inward and then do something defensive about it. So there we saw like retreating fair. There was a shield earlier on. The spots where Franz has been getting the forward tilt or the down smash. Rishi's recognizing it and then sort of parrying and getting away back to that mid-range where he wants to be. And then the game plan from there, of course, get Doc in the air, don't let him back down.
Absolutely. The cape there setting up for an interesting edge guard, but it gets reversed. Franz, unfortunate situation there.
I really like that counter option. I don't know if I've seen that many times.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since I played this matchup. Back in 2014 or 2015, Snacks versus Velocity was a Marth Doc that I played, but that was about it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this game, you know, looking Rishi favored here, but we do still have one more. This is where best of 5 starts.
It's best of 5. Huh?
We're in best of 5, top 96.
Yeah, that's a good note. Yeah, and I mean, at this point, it seems like FD has been hurting Franz as much as it's been helping him.
It's been crazy to watch this stock. Just so many interactions where they're just playing around each other so well. It's crazy how many times a move has been thrown out this stock, and it's whiffed.
And it doesn't connect.
Look at these spot dodges, shields. They are playing defensively is one word for it, but just in a dance together.
And I guess, and this is the hard part about playing Dr. Mario, is the effectiveness with which he can continue to layer the mix-ups.
Yeah.
Against the sort of against the adaptation that Rishi's been implementing, where when they get close, he does something defensive, and then gets away with some empty movement or something. I think at that point you need to start stutter stepping, which is not Doc's specialty, right? Once he gets in, you want to do that down smash or forward tilt right away. Maybe he needs to wait a tick, or like jump, do a delayed aerial, or even just delay the move.
And we're seeing Franz wait a bit on the ledge, just happy to kind of throw these pills. Rishi happy to send them right back.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess at this point as Doc, what you really want is enough damage that if you do a nair, it's not definitely getting crouch canceled.
Yeah.
Because that just makes you so much more limited.
And right as you say that, just threw out that nair. And it was still a little bit hasty, right?
Yeah.
Rishi able to just kind of be ready for it.
And tried to do it in a spot where Rishi jumped, so there was no crouch cancel possibility, but Marth Dort is a sort of, course, way more disjointed, right?
Yeah.
Than Doc's nair.
I think that was the first time we saw side B. And it was really interesting that Rishi saved it for that kind of clutch last moment, saying, no, I'm ready to kill you.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Yeah, it is interesting, and you pretty much do only want to use it at the late percents, because before that, it's like a little damage, and maybe they can crouch cancel it or something. But yeah, saving it for the last kill is an interesting choice, of course. Back to FD, this must be the stage for Doc against Marth.
Yeah. I think Franz just, feeling like better game plan here.
Yeah, and now Franz extending very far with the forward tilt. I guess trying to like overshoot, and that's sort of what that's a stutter step right there when he went all the way through and came back with an up air. It didn't lead to much, and I mean, you're playing Doc, so that's part of your life. Sometimes your moves don't lead to much, but it seems pretty good. And now that Rishi's starting to jump in those situations, we might see like a Doc up smash.
Yeah.
And so the gameplay just keeps evolving, because now there's no doubt Franz has successfully been able to find himself in an infight as the infighter against Rishi. But Rishi's just been so good at responding very quickly.
Yeah, it hasn't led to a lot, right? I mean, Franz is able to get behind this Marth, which is a great position to be in, right? Marth in shield, but being behind a Marth in shield, better than being right in front of a Marth in shield, you know?
True, yeah.
It hasn't really converted to much, but Franz going to be looking to convert this into the first stock of the game.
Yep, and then, yeah, sometimes that is the thing about, like, the level 1 gameplay that we saw at the very beginning is just Rishi using fair to keep Franz out. And so Franz still does need to occasionally back off after feinting like he's going to come in, or else the fairs will just start blocking everything once again.
Slow get up, not enough time. If only they'd made it 20 seconds longer than the 10 seconds it already is. Maybe would have had a shot there. This has been a long stock.
Yeah, you're not kidding. A minute and a half.
High percent.
Oh, Rishi runs all the way through now.
It all on that forward smash. Doesn't get punished and is able to find a down smash. Franz with the first stock of this game.
I'm curious what you think about that sort of plan, where Rishi this whole time has been sort of playing the wall, right?
Yeah.
Has been saying, you have to come in on me, and even when you do, you won't find much success. And then suddenly Rishi changes it up and just does a mad dash toward Franz. What do you think that sort of introduces to the game?
Whew.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, I think it's important, like, as you mentioned, this is a matchup where they've been mixing each other up a lot, basically, right? So I think it's important to have these little mental advantages of someone not knowing exactly what you're going to do, right? So having a game plan, and then these weird little moments of deviation where you're kind of, it's in the back of your head the next time you try a certain option of, I don't know if Rishi's going to do the same thing again. They might be doing something different that's just not what I'm expecting, or might be what I'm doing. Maybe that changes Franz's game plan. It's very much a mental battle here on FD.
Yeah, and at top level melee it is so often. Yeah, I've been sort of fascinated by the way Franz has started to develop a game plan around keeping Rishi in the corner, because Rishi's been so willing to back up that now Franz is moving to a spot where Rishi can't back up anymore and is trying to push that advantage, and this is the first real lead that Franz has had in the entire set.
It's been important that Franz has been able to hold it too as well. I mean, something that Franz has been doing pretty well.
Nice.
Fortunate if he's not going to be able to get back on there, yeah. Something that Franz has been doing very well, though, in general, with these few stocks that they've been able to get pretty quickly, has been that smash attacks are very punishable on Marth. So they're finding the right time to kind of bait out smash attacks and then wave dash in with like a down smash, etc. when this Marth's been at high percent. Now, that's nice, but it would be nice if you didn't have to rely on getting this Marth to that high of a percent to kind of find your opportunities, right?
Yeah,
this is how it starts.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge, huge combo. And really, it has been a lot of smaller hits from Franz. If you can find the big party starters, that might be enough to turn this matchup around.
There's a reason that we're coming up to about halfway through the game timer, and we're about halfway through the game, It's been a little bit slower of a game.
Yeah, and
when
when someone does get a hit, it's like one hit, and then they're done, right? There's been a couple times where she's gotten the big juggle, but Franz's neutral choices are now sort of straying away from, getting grabbed or getting up tilted or something. I say right as he gets grabbed.
Yeah. Rishi just rolls into a dock down smash. A little bit of break-in.
Marth killer, fair, so strong. Yep.
That'll do it.
See what he does with the invincibility. Pushes Franz all the way to the edge.
I'm curious. We've been seeing Franz a lot of the time throwing one pill and then going in, or kind of choosing just to throw walls of pills. So it's going to be interesting when Franz chooses to go in. That time chose not to go in with a pill and was able to get a fair off of it.
Yeah, looking for a down air. Doc able to jump out.
I'm pretty sure that is Fox. Franz fighting for their tournament, their winners tournament.
It was like Rishi was behind. It was just so sudden a comeback. I almost didn't notice that it even happened.
It's the thing with Doc, right? They're fragile.
Yeah, the sharking's been really good. Rishi's elected to do that a few times to move out of the way. I think that Doc's down air can contest some of Marth's sharking opportunities.
Yeah.
Yep, fares to get back on. Run forward shield. Yeah,
This
Rishi
is-
starting to press forward. I don't know if it's out of nerves or part of
scary.
strategy, but
Wow. Wave dash forward, down smash is going to send him off stage for that edge guard scenario. Forward tilt's going to put it.
yeah, nice counter attack. And the up tilt's going to do it. Rishi barely clutches out. I sensed a little bit of nerves at the end.
Yeah, Rishi just did such a good job at not letting Doc land there at the end. You know, always so scary to be above a Marth, not where you want to be.
Yeah, and I do want to commend Franz too. The 2 times that Rishi actually pressed forward in the set, and it was really only twice.
Yeah.
Both times, Rishi ended up getting punished for doing it.
Yep.
So proving that you can't just move into Doc. It's much better to try to play that pace and space sort of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pace and space. I like that.
Yeah, it's a basketball term.
Yeah. Very good set though overall. A close 3-0.
It did feel like a close 3-0. And I have to say, one thing that was really important for Rishi was moments like that, that edge guard, where Rishi was actually able to close it very often. Sometimes versus Doc with the long magnet hands and that sort of uppercut recovery. If you're not playing it just right, it can be, I'm not going to say difficult, but tricky to continuously and consistently close those edge guards versus Marth. And of course, conversion rate, as we know, is so important.
Yeah, and some of there's that counter that you were talking about, right? That run off counter, really cool. It was little reversals like that made this game just a little bit harder for Franz to actually kind of find a foothold. It does look like we'll be having another doctor on screen. We'll have a Western dentist, if you will, Westballs.
That sound that you heard was the infamous Westball's tech of being able to press B very, very fast to repeatedly pick a character. That's what that was.
It looks like we'll be having Westballs and Toussaint. This will be an interesting matchup. Toussaint, great player. They are just a New York mainstay.
I think the highest seeded regional player outside of like IBDW J-Move.
Yeah,
right?
I think you are right.
Yeah.
Potentially J-Flex.
Oh,
I don't know
I know
how J-Flex would have been